Come shop with us. HSN.com has thousands of videos that bring our products to life, whether it's beauty, fashion, accessories, tech, home and garden.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And welcome to Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith. You know it is Saturday. It's time for real talk. Real talk, real topics with real friends. Good morning, Anastasia.
Good morning, Miss Deborah. How are you this morning?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And I know y'all heard all that music in the background. Ole, ole, ole. You know how those bulls, when bulls see red, they just rage out of control because they're going to attack any and everything that is in their sight. Well, that's what we're talking about this morning. Seeing red. What makes people act out and get enraged? But we're going to open up first. So if you are here, please like, share, and get ready to get started here. As you know, obstacles come in all forms. Lack of education, poor self-esteem, generational curses, homelessness. These are just some of the obstacles that our young people face. My platform is designed to assist our high school age and young adult males as they follow my basic principles in order to build a better life. I believe it is better to train early rather than to fix later. So again, this morning, you know, this month we have been talking about relationships and friends. And this just ties in because we're going to be talking about some incidences of people and how they can act. They just act like they are bulls and they're seeing red and they just lose it. But they are forgetting something very, very important, and that is someone is watching them. They are mentors to someone. And they are mentors to someone, and they don't realize that someone is watching them while they are acting out. So that's what we're going to talk about this morning. Seeing red.
That's right, Miss Deborah. I am curious to know if the persons that have been caught in these situations and found themselves splattered across YouTube and splattered across Facebook, if they realize that in times past, you know, the only person that may have seen them were the ones that were immediately around them. You know, if you weren't there to catch the situation, then you had to go by hearsay of what somebody else saw or somebody else's interpretation of what happened. But nowadays we have got a phone, a tablet, a dash cam, a light cam, the ones that are on the street lights and buildings and all of that. Like, there are cameras everywhere. Everything is being recorded. Everything is being distributed straight across the internet. And once it hits there, it never dies. It absolutely never dies. And so we've got people that have died over these incidents. They have honked a horn, and in times past that would be, hey, what are you making noise about? Wait your turn, wait your turn. You might even get a finger here and there. But nowadays it is real road rage. There is airplane rage. There is school rage. There is just so much anger and so much hostility being displayed in our communities. And these people no longer just have the effect on people that are immediately around them and the children that are in their care, but because it's being splattered all over the place for everyone to see, their influence has increased, and it's gotten so much wider and so much broader. So what have you seen come up lately, Miss Deborah, that you wanted to make note of this morning? Because I know I've seen a lot of stuff. We have these names that we have going around for persons that act out. We call them Karens and Kens, right?
Yes. It's just amazing. Well, good morning, everybody that's tuned in so far. Dan, Carol, Agnes, Tanika, thank you all for tuning in. Hey, all I can say is what the rage. People are just acting like, you've heard people say, oh, they acted like a bull in a china shop, just going crazy. They act like they have no morals, no ethics. And of course, they act like they don't have any children. And, it is just sad. There are so many issues and things that are going on in the world. And then people have time, instead of bonding together and pulling together as one, they are fighting and hating on each other. It is just amazing. And we're seeing this so much on the road. And like you said, at one point, it was okay to honk your horn. You honk your horn today, you may lose your life, and it's just awful. But I thought it happened during this month, but it was actually back in the end of July. This was in Washington State. And they said that these two drivers were merging onto the highway. So, how those lanes come together, and you're supposed to, be courteous and like merge. So I don't know what happened, but the one driver honked at this guy in his Jeep. Well, they didn't collide or anything, so that should have been the end of it. No foul, no play, let's go on about our day. But this guy in the Jeep decided, well, he just had enough. He followed this guy, and he kept honking at the guy. And the guy was like, okay, this person is like losing it. I have to get away from them. So he actually got off of the highway trying to avoid this person. So he's doing everything he can to avoid a situation. Well, this guy somehow speeds up and gets in front of him. So he speeds in front of him, slants his car in front of him, slams on brakes, gets out. So he's doing all these things that are wrong. So you follow the other driver, then you get in front of him, you stop, you get out of your car, you take time to get an axe, then you throw the axe at the other person's windshield. Now that's just crazy. They took too much energy to do all those things. Now he definitely wasn't thinking, because a lot of things could have happened in this situation. It could have been much worse than it was, because first of all, when he swerved and stopped, what if the other driver couldn't have stopped in time and had hit him? He would have been wedged between 2 tons of metal. you know, or the other driver could have gotten hurt. And when he stopped and the other guy stopped, then everybody else could have stopped and they could have had a pile up. You don't know if the guy in the car where he threw the axe had a weapon, so he could have got out shooting because he would have been justified in trying to defend himself. So what the rage? What is wrong with people? It is just crazy.
It is, Miss Deborah. I mean, I've had times where, people drive a little crazy here too. And you would be call it as defensive driving. You have to not only drive for yourself, but you're driving with the other person's intentions in mind also. So, you can't just ride up close to them. Like in teaching my son and my daughter how to drive, I had to teach them and tell them, listen, when you are even stopping at a light, you make sure that you can see the bottom of that person's bumper, or you can see their back tires, because you have to make sure that if anything is happening, you have enough space to be able to maneuver and get from behind them. And I'm just thinking, if their car stops working, they run out of gas, the battery dies or something like that, you won't be stuck because you're so close behind them, that you can't maneuver and get away. But in the situation with this guy, I saw the video clip, Miss Deborah. I saw the video, and usually they had this prank that was going around with videos where they start out really calm, and you see like you're on a winding road or something, and then all of a sudden this thing jumps out at you like bam, and then you find yourself just pulling away from the screen. That was almost the situation there, because it seems like he had a dash cam that recorded the incident. It didn't seem like it was done on a cell phone or anything. And I mean, the guy just pulled in front of him, and no time, no warning. He threw it like he was a professional, like he was in a competition, and just shattered his windshield. And I had to jump back. I'm like, oh my goodness. Because what if there was the axe didn't seem to come through to the driver's side. It seemed to come through to the passenger side. So someone sitting in the front seat on the side of him would have been seriously injured, not just the shattered glass, but the axe itself. Or, he could have had small kids in the back seat. If, like you said, the driver couldn't stop in time before he even got his door open to throw the axe, he could have been wedged. He could lose his leg. He could have had somebody in the back seat that he wasn't thinking about, who would have ended up pinned in the vehicle also. And these things are so easily accessible. It is so easily accessible. Integrity is not what you do in front of figures of authority or whatever. It's what you do behind closed doors. And he thought in that moment, first of all, he had to have thought that he was justified in what it is he was doing, or else he wouldn't have done it. But I'm sure that he probably thought that he would get away with it also. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Not only is it you say that you didn't cut me off and I say that you did. It's not just a you say and a I say of words. It becomes, this is what the video got. The video is unbiased. It has no friends or foes. All it does is show what it saw, and that is it. It can't make anyone look ugly or pretty in the situation. And in that moment, I cannot understand you being so angry. You are so very angry. And much worse if he was late to be somewhere, because you know what? You made yourself even later by going through all of this action and doing so much in response to being cut off because you felt like you were mishandled and you were unjustly treated. And I do not understand it. Maybe if I end up in a situation like that one day, I'll understand it a little bit better. But Miss Deborah, I absolutely can't see you doing something like that either. You are such a mild-mannered and a calm person. I mean, I don't see it. But the video is there. The evidence is there to say that these type of things are happening on a regular basis. So now we have to think about if he had kids in the car, both parties or either party, what lessons do you think that it would be teaching the children? What do you think that their children or their spouse would have taken away from the situation?
It's just awful. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, you would hope these, well, the guy with the axe anyway, that he doesn't have any family members, he doesn't work anywhere, and he doesn't have any children. But unfortunately, he probably does. And he is setting such a bad example. And what a lot of people do not realize, you know, we have gone generations and generations and generations of telling our children, this is what you need to do. You know, I said it, do it. And how the millennials and Generation Z, they will look at you and they may be respectful, but it's not necessarily what you tell me to do. I'm going to do how I see you act. So this individual was showing his employers, his friends, his neighbors, his children, his spouse, if she wasn't in the car, how he really is. And so, you know, we're in the house, he might rage out as well, but this was just awful. You know, nothing could have been that bad. Like I said, they didn't have an accident. So what was it about somebody blowing a horn that just set you off, that you just went bonkers? But you are setting a bad example. He could have been, and I don't remember in the news article if they said, you know, where he was employed, because they did catch him. But, you know, he could be teaching your child in school, or he could be at your church on the ushers ministry or something like that. You know, now people see you for who you really, really are. And it is just sad, because 2 lives or more could have been lost that day because you were acting like a jackbutt. I'm going to say it like that.
In their report, they said that they caught up with him 3 days later and that he was eventually arrested. And that, again, goes to the importance of things being documented and the importance of the video, because he did not have his name. He did not have his address. He didn't have anything. The only thing that he had in that moment was the video. Mm-hmm. But without having any other information or anything like that, well, probably his tags. He probably got his tags eventually. But just with that information, he was able to be tracked down, caught up, and charged for what it is that he did. And so that is, again, where integrity comes in. You don't do stuff behind closed doors or in an instance where you think that you're going to get away with it and act differently from the way that you know that you are putting on that performance for your job, or putting on that performance for your church, or putting on that performance for your wife and all the rest of that other stuff. Because this situation here showed his true colors. Now, of course, he may have been having a bad day. It may have been a really, really, really bad day. But what would be the excuse for the thousands of persons who have been given these fines on these aircrafts? Because, you know, that's just, it's another form of rage. It's another form of anger. You booked the ticket. In your booking, it's a part of the information given that while you are on our flight, while you are using our services, you are going to have to keep your mask on for the safety of our staff and other passengers. It's said there when you're booking the ticket. But when you get on the flight, you decide, you sat in the entire airport. You came in through TSA and everybody with your mask on, and you played the part because you were going to get your flight and you're trying to get to where you're going. So you played the part. You had to have come in there with your mask on. You had to have sit in the waiting area and everything with your mask on. You had to have come through the airplane door with your mask on. But when we get in the air, not while we are, not while we're on the runway or anything, when we get in the air is when you decide that you're just going to show your whole butt and you're going to take it off And oh my gosh, I was dying. This was killing me. Oh my goodness, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. My thinking is that, okay, I know what I do when I get in my car, when I'm in my house, all of that other stuff, it's off. It's off. I'm not in proximity of anybody. It's just my personal space. It's off. When I'm walking into a building, literally as I approach the front door, is when I'm putting my mask on.
All right.
As soon as I exit that building, it's off. It's only for the duration of the service. It's only for the duration of your flight. Yeah, it may take you a while. If you know that you can't stay in the mask for 3 hours, 4 hours, then get a connecting flight. You know, go into the bathroom. Why not go into the bathroom, take it off, give yourself a minute, read a book or something, listen to an audio book, do something. Give yourself a minute and then go back and have a seat and, you know, just get there. Do what you have to do to get there. These airplane incidents are going absolutely crazy, Miss Deborah. What's your thoughts on this? Because I know that there are persons around you who you know that have traveled. I personally haven't gone anywhere yet, but I know that there are persons around you, if you haven't done it yourself, who have definitely taken a plane already. Tell me what the experience has been.
I mean, fighting on an airplane, that is just scary. I think I would have had a meltdown. They would have had to come and carry me off the airplane because, I mean, you don't want any type of altercation on an airplane. Anything could have happened. They're fighting. The weight could have shifted. You got an air marshal on there. I'm sure he has a weapon. If he thought it was so bad that they started tussling, window could have got shot out. You know, and I just see these, you know, we see, I'm looking at the movies and people get sucked through the windows. I'm like, what is wrong with people? And then you said, go in the bathroom and take the mask off. I could only think about, in one of the articles, it was talking about this one man. He was so mad. He goes in the restroom, urinates on the floor, and then it runs in the kitchen. What is wrong with people? I mean, is it mental health? I mean, they're out. They're not closed in the house anymore.
No.
But, you know, put your mask on. It's the policy. You knew it, like you say, they knew it was the policy when they got on the plane. You're not gonna be on there forever. And you know, the sad part is when you get on an airplane, you might have an opportunity to select your seat, but you don't select who sits around you. So you want people to have on their masks because you don't know if they've been vaccinated or if they have COVID. Hopefully not, because they might be past the temperature stage or before the temperature stage and they could have it. But they are putting other people in danger, and then they want to get on an airplane and start fighting. And you know, the FAA, they have no tolerance for this stuff. So these people have healthy fines on top of, I mean, when I say healthy, I'm talking about like the ones I saw, 43,000, 40,000, and then you ban from flying on the airline. Yeah. What if you have a child in college, you know, on West Coast and you live on the East Coast? What are you going to do now? It's just crazy.
It is. I saw that there's this article that was done on August 19th, and the Federal Aviation Administration announced that in a news release Thursday that since the beginning of the year, the agency has received around 3,889 reports of passengers behaving badly, and around 2,867, which is more than 70%, were related to individuals failing to comply with mask mandates and causing a disruption as a result. Now, that amount, that number is staggering. That is crazy. It's literally in the thousands. But passengers are being Officials have already fined unruly passengers upward of $1 million in civil penalties this year. Just this year. We still have a few months left to go. I need us to remember that. We still have a few months left to go. And they've already gone above $1 million in fines for persons. And like you said, some of those persons are being hit with 15,000, 43,000 just based on the level that they have taken their aggression to. People have been duct taped to chairs. How do you spend your flight? You're supposed to be comfortable. You're supposed to be sleep. You paid somebody to duct tape you to a chair? You paid for that. Like when you got up that morning, you made up in your mind that, you know what? I am not going to listen to this mandate. I cannot stay in the mask and all the rest of that other stuff. And you knew that there was a high possibility that I can disrupt everybody's flight by causing them to have to land early or, you know, being disruptive and making everyone else around me angry and all the rest of that other stuff. And then to the extreme of having to land in another airport, having to cut the actual destination, having to cut the flight plan in order to get you off of the flight. They literally would have to land the airplane because it has been determined that you are so unruly and so uncontrollable that they need to get you off of the flight. And you're now going to have to find your way from wherever it is that they drop your butt off at. Because you're facing charges, you're in police custody and all the rest of that. And you're going to have to find your way out of there, find the money for the fines. And this is what you woke up with on your mind this morning? You really? That was your thought? I know that when I'm going to Texas, I know that it's usually a connecting because we go from here and then we go into Miami, usually, and then we go on, or we'll go into Fort Lauderdale and then we'll go on. That's not what goes through my mind when I am trying to get somewhere. I want it to be done. I want to be finished with the flight. I want to get off and stretch my legs. But these people are waking up with the thought in their mind that, you know what? They're not going to control me. I will not be a sheep. I will not be confined to a mask for 3 hours. And you're willing to put yourself at risk of fines and jail time and everybody else's days being ruined because you couldn't sit there for 3 hours with a mask on. You're literally fighting people. I saw fights, Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah, you saw any of those fights?
Yes.
I mean, they were kind of funny, but have you seen any of the literal fist fights that they've gotten into?
I mean, all across the seats, on the floor, even a flight attendant started one of them. You know, he was a passenger on the plane, but he's a flight attendant. He started a fight. Like, what in the world? Like I said, I know I would have a meltdown because I would just know, oh, this plane is going to go down.
You're going to send somebody into a panic attack is correct. Because I know my dad has anxiety on the floor. When he knows that we're flying, his anxiety starts. Wow. And so he would usually take a sleep aid to make sure that he's knocked out. As soon as he knows that we are in the air comfortably, he sleeps. And we have to literally wake him up. And so someone like him, who is already nervous about the situation itself, to have you on the flight acting a complete fool. And as far as they're concerned, you know, our base of knowledge is in land vehicles. So if a fight breaks out on a bus, you know, there's possibilities of losing balance. There's possibilities of distractions to the driver and therefore, you know, an accident in the front of us or, you know, things like that. Our base of knowledge is usually in land travel. So when you're in that confined space and you're still traveling, it doesn't register to you all the time that, you know what, it's not the same situation. It's not like you're in the air and because everybody's on this side of the airplane that it's really going to tip over or something like, no, we in the air. Like all you got is open space around you. But you have to be such a logical person to even think that way. Because initially, when you see this fight breaking out, and also you don't know what kind of things this person has on them, you don't know what state of mind they're in and how far they're going to take the situation. That can, someone like my dad having to be on a flight with something like that, we're never going to get him back home. We're never going to get him back home. We can't drive home. We have to cross waters. We're going to end up having to put him on a boat. He's not going to take another flight. He didn't want to be there in the first place. And so now with the possibilities of all of this stuff going on, we're never going to get him to come back to Nassau. He's going to have to build a house over there. He's going to have to start paying taxes, filing paperwork for immigration and everything. It's just going to go. That's just how it's going to have to be. And so then we're going to have to look at still the impact that it's leaving behind on the younger generations behind us. You know, a young person that's watching it who is like my father, and they already don't want to take any flights. They really already have a nervous condition about it because maybe they saw an accident on the road and they're like, shoot, if this is happening on the road, I don't want to go in the air. You know, they may have their own reasons why they don't want to take a flight. And so to see something like that, it's a further deterrent. They definitely don't want to do it. And so, again, that goes back to the impact that's being left on younger persons and people that aren't even directly involved in the situation. This rage is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think we're going to need to give some tips. I think so. We're going to need to give some tips on how to manage your rage when it is you're getting angry, and then how to manage when somebody else is angry. Let's do that, like conflict resolution and self-discipline. So which one are you going to take, Miss Deborah? Do you want to give 3 on self-discipline, or you want to give 3 on conflict resolution?
Self-discipline.
Okay.
And I just want to say good morning to Leonardo. Thank you for tuning in. It was nice seeing you. All right. First of all, don't honk unless it is to keep someone from stepping off the curb in front of your car or they're about to hit you. Otherwise, don't engage your horn. We have shown you today. And if you are someone that watches the news at all, you know that it can be very dangerous. A lot of murders start out simply by someone blowing the horn. So if all possible, don't just honk. Because I about 3 weeks ago, I did that and I was like, why did I do that? And it was because it was raining and this guy had been following me so closely. And then the highway, the street that we were on is just S. It's just an S. It's just continuous curve. So of course he wasn't supposed to go around me. So he goes around, he speeds up and goes around. And I'm just like, oh man. So it was probably about a mile before the light. But I get to the light and he's sitting there. And I just had to blow at him to say, you did all of that and you sitting there and I'm gone. And I was like, why did you do that? Don't do that. Another one, and don't follow anyone. If you get so upset somebody shoots you the finger or they say some offensive thing to you or maybe cut you off or whatever, as long as you and your family are fine, they didn't cause an accident, don't follow them. Just go about your day. Say, thank you, Lord, that you spared us, and go about your day. Don't even give them another thought because something, a lot of times people will kind of drift because a lot of people on the cell phones or whatever. And sometimes, you know, we do have those blind spots, and sometimes people do things and they don't mean to. So it's no need for us to just get upset and lose it because they didn't mean to. Nothing happened. Just go ahead. And then I guess the last one I would give is just always try to be a courteous driver. You know, you never know what you're going to encounter on the road. But, you know, if you can let somebody over, let them over. You know, it's not going to hurt you to let 1 or 2 cars over when it's a pile up or traffic is backed up or someone's trying to turn and you can't go. You know, I hate that when you're at the light and nobody can go anywhere and somebody's trying to turn in and nobody will stop to allow them to turn in. Just be courteous on the road. This is a time for us to be bonding together and acting cordial towards each other. And remember, our children, our grandchildren, our students, our Sunday school students, the pastor, everybody is looking at you. They can see you all over social media. What do you want to display to others? You should be your true self, but what is your true self? So those are my 3.
Okay, so when I think about conflict resolution, I think that, okay, one would be think about the after. Okay, if I blow my horn here, what are the possible outcomes of this? If I cut this person off, what's the possible outcome of this? This guy cut me off and he's arguing and cussing and carrying on or whatever. If I engage him, what's the possible outcome of this? Because me engaging him, me starting to cuss back and all the rest of that other stuff, it's only going to escalate the situation. So before you get yourself into anything, think of the after, okay? Think about how this can turn out and the other possible scenarios about it. 2, when it comes to conflict resolution, stay calm. Stay calm. There is always, there's a song that says, keep that same energy. Now, it's not speaking in that same way, but the energy that you're giving is usually the energy that you're going to get back. And so when it is that someone is giving you aggressive energy, they're giving you all that hyped up energy, sometimes you're able to change their flow by giving off calm energy. Instead of engaging with them and, you know, doing the up and down and the back and forth, if you remain calm and then they realize that, okay, you know, this isn't getting the effect that I want, or this isn't going the way that I thought that it would, sometimes they step back away from the edge and they start to think about what they're doing and what they're saying, and it'll bring them to a calmer place. And so that's definitely one of the ways that you can help to simmer a situation down and get a little bit better resolve to what it is, because you don't know what they were thinking or what they were going through previous to y'all incident. So, you know, it may help them to just step back and think about what they're saying and what they're doing, and you may be able to resolve the situation a lot calmer that way. So the second one would be to stay calm. And then I think the third one would be to put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. Try not to see things just from your side of the situation. I had a time where I was going on to a roundabout, and this guy, okay, like if you know that you're coming off and you're on the outer lane, you're either going left or straight. If you are on the right and you're on the inner lane, you're either going straight or to the right. I was on the outer lane and this guy was coming from the other way. And he came around and he came across the front of me, and he went across into the lane that was on the side of me, which means that he was on the outer lane. And so he was taking either the left, which would have been me, or the straight, which is the left that he took. And I didn't see it that way. I'm like, because for what I thought that he was going around the way that I was going around. And so when I came out, I was expecting him to go straight around, and he ended up turning and he cut me off a little bit. And I was like, what in the world is this dude doing? We drive so bad over here. Why these people, how they even get a license? Mad. Absolutely blown up in my head, right? Until I put myself in his shoes and I was like, okay, hold on. He was on the outer lane. And so technically he would have been going straight. So he was within his complete right to do what it is that he did. It was me that was misreading what it is that he was going to do and what his intentions were. And so it wasn't a road rage situation. I didn't follow behind him and be like, hey, you cut me off in the back there. What's wrong with you? What's going on in your world? No, I didn't do all of that. But I had to put myself in his shoes and to think of why in the world would he even do that in the first place? And when I calmed down and thought about it, I'm like, okay, I was the dumb one in that situation because he was doing what he was supposed to have been doing. He was doing what he was within his right to do. And a lot of time doing that, stepping back and putting yourself in the other person's shoes will help you not to respond so angrily and anxiously in the moment. And even if you do, it'll help you to get to a place where you understand maybe where they were coming from. And so you won't be so angry about it anymore. And, you know, sometimes we even get to a point of apologizing and saying, you know what, I was wrong. Let me come to you as an adult. Let me come to you as a grown person and say, okay, I had my part to play. It was a part of my fault or whatever else. And so that in itself resolves that conflict too, because in that moment, you get to a better place of being able to communicate with that person and you don't have that anger with them anymore. So those would be my three. And I hope that it would help somebody. Miss Deborah, your tips were absolutely great. And I know that they will help somebody today. Not tomorrow, next week or something, but they're going to help somebody today. It is still early in the morning and we haven't truly faced our entire day yet. And so when they take these tips along with them, we won't have any Karens or Kens popping out of the audience for this video today because they're going to know self-discipline and they're going to know conflict resolution. So let's get back to dun, da, da, da.
Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed our talk today, and it is very relevant, not only to those people that are doing those actions, but it impacts our young people. And our young people is my focus, and that is the reason why I wrote this book, Build Your Best Life. And it is essential tool for everyone. I mean, it's not only for our young people, but it is for the parents, educators, mentors, anyone that wants an opportunity to build your best life. So if you go out on my website and look at the various modules I have out there, of course, you can read my blog, but you can go on my web store and see those services that I offer. And you can also order your autographed copy of Build Your Best Life. And if you're in the Bahamas, no worries. We still can get them to you quickly because Anastasia has them in the Bahamas so that we can get them to you quickly. As well, if you like ebooks or Kindle books, Amazon.com. So whatever you need, we got it. So no excuses there. Thank you so much. And please visit my website. That's www.buildyourbestlife.org. And Anastasia, can you tell them about Be Becoming?
Okay, well, Be Becoming is a mentorship program that's geared toward young adults, usually high school age. I do have a few a little younger, but usually high school age. And it is geared toward career finding and determining what it is that you want to do with your life and how you want to live the rest of your life outside of high school. Whether it is that you want to go to college, whether you decide that you want to go into the workforce, that type of thing. We try to pull together our kids' focus and try to understand what they would like to do outside of their high school career and something that will bring them joy, something that will make them happy, not just something that is a paycheck and, we'll get them to food on their plates and things like that. No, we want them to be happy. We want them to be healthy. We want them to find passion and be joyful in what it is that they're doing. And so we try to lead them on their career path or on their chosen college path and get those things together so that we can get them moving and motivated in the right directions. And so if it is that you're trying to reach me, you can do it through my Facebook page, Be Becoming. You can do it through my Instagram of the same name, Be Becoming, or you can email me, bebecoming1@gmail.com.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in this morning to hear real topics about real situations and from real friends. And we have enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. Make sure that you share this with someone that you didn't see on here and you know that it will help them to be better. Please share it. And please tune in on Tuesday as we end the month of August. I cannot believe it, with our last topic dealing with friendships and relationships. And it's going to be, the topic is going to be an investment. Just think about that, an investment. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you so much, Anastasia, for taking time out of your busy Saturday to be on here. So as you travel on the road to building a better life, there will be distractions, rough terrain, detours, and pit stops. Don't let any of these negative aspects of your journey stop you. Though they may slow you down, keep going to be a better you so that you can build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That is not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Thank you. Be safe and enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.